This Rough Country 2.5-inch Series 2 lift kit without shocks is for those of you that have a 2007 and up JK and are looking to add a little bit of lift so you can run up to a 35-inch tire. 35s are generally what I would recommend for 2.5 inches of lift. You can also go with a smaller 33 if you're looking for a little bit more articulation, and 37s are definitely going to be too big for this much lift. Now, this is going to be a lift kit that is less expensive than a lot of the others on the market. This does not include new coil springs. You're going to get the lift from these spacers. This does not include shocks. You're going to get additional shock length from the shock adapters. And it does include all of the other components that are going to be necessary to get your Jeep back on the road and moving again, but you're not going to gain as much functionality from this lift kit as you would from some of the more expensive ones on the market. So if you're somebody who's just wheeling some fairly flat fire trails, you're not looking for a ton of articulation, a ton of suspension travel, or just in general looking for a lot of performance from your suspension, you want something that's going to ride similar to stock and allow you to fit a larger tire, all while staying on a tight budget, this is going to be a good option for you. However, if you are looking for a little bit more performance, chances are you're going to have to spend a little bit more money on one of those other kits out there to get what you're looking for. You're going to get a set of coil spring spacers with this kit. The fronts are a little bit longer than the rears to allow you to level out that factory rake that you have right off the assembly line. And these are going to be a metal spacer, so they're going to hold up even better than a poly spacer would. Now, a lot of people are running polyurethane spacers, don't have a big issue with them breaking down in the time that they're running them on their Jeep, but the steel will of course hold up a little bit better if you do plan on running this kit in the long term. Up here you do have your shock extension brackets that's going to allow you to run those factory shocks on your JK at this new higher ride height. Now, when you add a set of shock extensions and a set of coil spring spacers, you do have a couple of other issues that you may run into. Now, while these are going to give you the additional length that you need to run at your new ride height without buying a longer shock, they're also going to allow the shock to fully compress sooner than it would without these spacers in place, and that can cause damage to the shock. So as with any lift kit, you are going to want to flex everything out, check for clearances, and add bump stop where you need it. The coil spring spacers can get your factory coil springs to get into a condition known as coil bind a little bit sooner than they otherwise would. Coil bind is just when the coils of the coil spring touch together, and that can cause some damage to the spring over time. Now, if you are worried about coil bind, again, bump stop is your friend. Flex everything out, check it, add a little bit of bump stop where you need to keep both these shocks from fully compressing and your springs from fully compressing. Again, if you're using this kit for what, in my opinion, it is designed for, which is really running on some flatter trails on the road, just giving you clearance for a larger tire, then you're not going to be doing a ton of articulating. You're probably not going to have too much of an issue with the shocks fully collapsing or the springs fully collapsing. But again, if you do want to ensure you're not going to have that issue, flex everything out, add some bump stop. The kit's also going to include a longer set of sway bar end links. These are actually going to be going on the rear of the Jeep. You'll move the factory rear end links up to the front of the Jeep because from the factory, the rears are a little bit longer. That's going to give you the length that you need for your 2.5 inches of lift all the way around. Here you have a rear track bar bracket that's going to flatten out your rear track bar angle a little bit. It is adjustable. It has 3 different mounting holes, so you can adjust your roll center a little bit if you choose to. And it's going to be a track bar bracket that's going to work for you. However, it's not going to be quite as beefy as some of the other ones on the market. Some of the others will attach to the axle in 3 different locations. This is going to attach in just 2, but it is going to get the job done. It is going to flatten out that track bar angle for you. This is going to be a 2 out of 3 wrench installation, a fairly simple one at that. Now, even though this kit doesn't include shocks, it doesn't include coil springs, you are going to have to follow most, if not all, of the same steps as installing one of those kits that does include those components, because you still need to remove and uninstall the same parts to get this kit installed. So this isn't going to be a much easier install than any other lift kit, but it is definitely something you can do in your driveway with some hand tools and a jack and jack stance if you choose to tackle it in probably around 3 hours or so. Now, the first step in this installation is going to be removing or loosening anything that keeps the axles from completely drooping. That's going to be your brake line brackets, your sway bar end links, your shocks, and your track bars. Once you can fully sag the axles down, the factory springs will just want to pop right out. That will allow you to put your new coil spring spacers in place. And then as you're bolting everything back together, you're just adding these new components in there. Before you bolt your shocks back up, bolt up your shock extension brackets. Before you reinstall your rear track bar, bolt up your track bar bracket, and of course, flip your sway bar end links around. Again, something you can do in your driveway with some hand tools and some time. This kit will run you around $200, and if you've been shopping for lift kits, you know that that is very inexpensive. There are some 2.5-inch lift kits that include a lot more components, but will be $2,000. This one's only $200. So you have to expect you're going to get a little bit less functionality from this kit than you would from one that costs 10 times as much. If you're going to run a larger set of tires on your Jeep, if you just want the additional clearance for those larger tires, if you're not doing hardcore wheeling, you don't need a ton of performance from your suspension system, then I think this is going to be a good way to go. If you're not going to be using that additional performance, save some money. Spend $200, get a bigger tire on your Jeep because you like the look, and you're good to go. That's where I think this kit falls in, and if that's what you're looking for in a lift kit, I think this is a deal. So if you're looking for an inexpensive lift to run bigger tires, I definitely recommend taking a look at this Rough Country 2.5-inch Series 2 lift kit without shocks that you can find right here at extremeterrain.com.